In this last lesson in Mod 8 Unit 2, we're going to look at graphing systems of inequalities with two variables, and we're going to identify the intersection or solution region. Back in a previous module, not in this course but in another course, I think it was probably Module 5, you worked with systems of equations where you graph two lines and you look for the intersection. In this one, we're going to graph two inequalities, and we're going to look for an overlap of a shaded region. All right, so let's go to the examples. I will tell you that if you had one graph that perhaps looked like this, and it was shaded maybe above. I haven't made up the problem. I'm just saying if you had one that was shaded like this, and you had another inequality, and maybe it looked like this, and it was shaded above, you can see that there is an overlap or an intersection. And so this region right here contains the points that would make both of the inequalities true. Okay, so let's actually see what that's like in some examples. All right, number one, graph the solution of the system of linear inequalities. All right, the first one I have y is greater than or equal to x plus 3. The symbol is a greater than or equal to. That tells me I need a solid line because of the equal, and that I will shade above. I will begin at 3, and I will move. The slope is an implied 1 over 1, so I will move up 1 and right 1. I'm going to go ahead and get the second set of information. I have y is greater than or equal to 5 minus x. I'm going to rewrite that. Y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 5. All I did was move the positive 5 second and the negative x first. Because of that symbol, it will be a solid line. I will shade, because it says greater than, above. My b value is 5, and my slope is negative 1. Put it over 1, so it's down 1, right 1. Now, what I did in my drawing on this other problem was I shaded one region one color, another region another color, and the blending of the two colors highlighted the intersection. It doesn't work exactly like that in MATLAB, so let me show you. This one, I'm going to click the line tool. It is solid. I will draw this line beginning at 3, going up 1, right 1. I know it is a solid line. Now I'm going to think about but not do the bucket part yet. I know I am shading above it. Hold that in your mind. The second line, it is still line tool again, solid again. I will click on 5, and from there I will go down 1, right 1, and I will get a solid line that looks like this. Now I do not have to identify the point of intersection in this. All right, this says shade above. Above would be over here. Now, what you have to do is either do this on your paper and, shade this for one color and this for another color, because those are both above. In MATLAB, you have to determine where the overlap would be and then just click your bucket in here. Now, if you had been doing this on your notebook, on some graph paper, you would have had, I'm going to draw a little sketch of it, you would have had one side was above that line and it was one color. The other was above this line, and that didn't work very well. Let me change colors. All right, not perfect, but I think you can see that the overlap was this region right here. You simply have to determine that. The only part of the graph that was above the first line and above the second line was here. So you would have clicked the bucket and then clicked there. If you want to, you sketch it on your own paper so that then you know exactly which region to click for the bucket. All right, let's look at number 2. I have y is less than 3x minus 2, and I have y is less than or equal to x plus 4. The first one, that's going to be a dotted line. We're going to shade below. The b value is -2. The slope is 3 over 1, up 3, right 1. The second line, it will be a solid line. You will shade below. The y-intercept is 4, and the slope is 1. Put it as 1 over 1, so that's up 1, right 1. You have to be a little bit careful when you switch from using one kind of line to using another kind of line. Sometimes it switches your original line, so kind of watch out for that. All right, pick the line. Pick dotted for the first one, and I will begin at -2. I will go up 3 and over 1. I will get a dotted line, and although I won't use the bucket, I do know that I'm doing it below. Oh, I'm so sorry. So it is below that line. The other one, now, you want to go ahead and click this, and I think you go ahead and do solid now, but if you do solid now and it changes this one to solid, then go ahead and graph the second line and then switch it to solid. All right, so I need this one to be a solid line. I will begin at -4, and I will go up 1, right 1, and will look a little bit like this. Now remember, I was below the dotted line, and now I'm going to be below the solid line. So I would click on the bucket. What is below both of them? Well, everything here is below both of them. So you would simply just pick any point in here, anywhere in here, and do the bucket, and it will fill in this. So this region is not included, this is not included, and that is not included. Only the region that was below both of them. All right, number 3. I have x is greater than or equal to 5y. Now, these, if you're going to look at it from y's perspective, I would say you need to turn this entire inequality around and put the 5y over here and the x over here. X is bigger than this, which means the 5y is smaller than x. When you turn it around, the whole statement turns around. Now divide by 5, and you have y is less than or equal to, I'm going to call that 1/5 x because of the implied 1, plus a 0. This symbol is solid line, and it is shade below because I turned it around. I will begin at the origin of 0, and my slope is 1/5, which tells me to move up 1, right 5. The other line is x plus 2y is less than or equal to 2. Subtract x, 2y is less than or equal to -x plus 2. Divide everything by 2. and y is less than or equal to, I'm going to call that negative 1/2 x plus 1. There's an implied 1 right there. This tells me it will be solid. Because it's less than, I will shade below. I'll begin at 1. My slope is negative 1/2, which is down 1, right 2. All right, first line. Line, solid, begin at 0, 0, go up 1 over 5. You will get a solid line, which is very flat. I'm going to be shading below it. So right now, so sorry to keep touching things. Below it is all of this region. Second line. Click this again. It is solid, so that needs to stay the same. Begin at 1. From there, go down 1, right 2. And I will get this solid line. And I'm supposed to shade below it. So below the first line is everything down here. Below the second line is everything here. The region that is below both of them is this region. It is below that line, but it is also below this line. So two intersecting lines cut your plane into 4 regions. So you find the region that satisfies both of the statements, in this case below and below. Click in there, click the bucket, and then click in that region. Okay, I think we have 2 more. All right, I have x is less than or equal to 5. I'm glad we talked about that kind. And y is greater than or equal to negative 7. This one is going to be a solid line. And left, this is in terms of x, we're going to shade to the left of the line. You can't go above and below a vertical line. This one is going to be a horizontal line. It's going to be solid, and we're going to shade above. So remember, this one is a vertical line, and this one is a horizontal line. So for the first one, line, solid, cuts through the x-axis at 5. So you'll click maybe there, and then any other point along that vertical line. When I shade, I will shade to the left. Then I have y is greater than or equal to negative 7. So line again, still solid. Click here, maybe click here. You will get this solid line, and you're shading above it. So there are 4 regions. I need to choose the region that is left and above. Left and above is this area. So you would click the bucket and touch anywhere inside that left above region. All right, last one. I have 2x plus 3y is less than negative 6. Subtract 2x. I have 3y is less than negative 2x minus 6. Divide everything by 3. Y is less than negative 2/3 x minus 2. Because of this symbol, I know that it's going to be dotted. I know it's going to be below. And the b value is negative 2. The slope is negative 2 over 3, which is down to right 3. The other line is special. X is greater than or equal to negative 4. It's going to be solid. It's going to be a vertical line. And I'm going to shade to the right because it says greater than. All right, so line, dotted, begin at negative 2. From there, go down to and write 3, I get a dotted line. The other one is a vertical line, line again, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure whether you go ahead and hit solid now or you wait until you draw the line and then switch it to solid, because one of those ways switches the existing line, so you have to be a little careful. And then I'm sorry, perhaps I can post another video that demonstrates exactly what you need to do. All right, so I need a solid vertical line cutting through the x-axis at -4. So pick 2 points along that line, you get this solid. And we're going to shade to the right. So I need below and right. So below and right would make it this region. All right. So lots of colors and lines, and enjoy those exercises.